Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the first day of November 2023. It is Wednesday of the 30th week of the year, the 30th week in Ordinary Time. But today, November the 1st, we begin the great turn in our liturgical year as we count down the last couple of weeks until the end of our liturgical year. And we begin that great turn with a great solemnity of the Feast of All Saints, or Solemnity of All Saints. More solemnity than a feast. It's a higher ranking thing. Anyway, I am back from being on a ferry. I'm back from being on an island, and now back in Raleigh again, getting ready for Community Mass, because the wonderful, glorious thing about Community Mass on November the 1st is that our second graders, all the candidates for the First Communion, will come dressed as their favorite saint. So the saints of God will be among us at 9 o'clock Mass today at our Community Mass for the Franciscan School. So what are we doing today? Celebrating, and it's also a wonderfully fantastic fall day. First a day in which I am not sweating in the least. So that's what's so wonderful. It's going to change by the weekend again, go back close to 80. But at least for now, it is just wonderfully, gloriously fall. But what are we doing today in feasting the saints? Again, we are feasting again all those holy men and women who no one can count, only God can count. Again, whose faithfulness, to the gospel, to God's promises to us, to what it is that God says we can become, and what it is that we must do as people of faith in this world, have been faithful to that, and live their lives and try to live that as best they can. Now, this does not mean that, again, it's a chosen few, it's a chosen group, and everybody else is kind of is second rate in whatever it is. In the Eucharistic Prayer for Reconciliation 2, it makes the wonderful statement that we too one day will stand as saints with saints before the throne of God. And again, it's the sense in which all people are called, to live this life, and there are those, again, who can guide us by their own lives. The thing is sometimes is that our Holy Church has decided only to make saints into these kind of disconnected from humanity, disconnected from life individuals who go through life with their heads in the clouds and their eyes only gazed above, and basically who have disregard sometimes even for their humanness and this life that we live. Kind of like Paul was trying to do in this letter to the Romans that we've heard in the last couple of days. That is not necessarily right, and that's not necessarily a good thing. And there is this kind of little statement that's going through social media and whatever it is that's attributed to Pope Francis. Sometimes it's attributed to John Paul II, which I find that hard to believe. But it is, but it's kind of like a poetry or whatever it is. Francis says something close to it at World Youth Day 2013, but it's an expression about the kind of saints that we need. And we don't need saints with their heads in the clouds. We don't need saints disconnected from human life. We don't need saints disconnected from us, as if God is disconnected from us, and God lives on a lofty throne in all kinds of perfection, and we just grovel about below God. That is not what the Feast of All Saints, the Solemnity of All Saints, is about, nor what sainthood is about in our church. What this statement says, or what this little poem says, or what this thing that kind of Pope Francis sort of said, is that we need saints who drink Coke. We need saints who wear jeans. We need saints, who like to go to the movies, who like to play games, who enjoy all kinds of different sorts of pursuits, who love to go on hikes, who love to be people who drink coffee, are people who enjoy a good joke, are people who are immersed in what it means to be human, in what it means to be one like us, so that we can remember that Christ becomes one like us, not separated from us, not something distinct and untouchable, and basically not able to, unrelatable. Christ does not become like that for us, and Christ is never that for us. We, in our ridiculous church at times, turn Christ into that, which is beyond measure. I don't even know why we do that. Because we want perfection, and we want perfection in the most ridiculous and absurd kinds of ways, because we cannot see the wonder and beauty about each of us. That is what this day celebrates, this great solemnity of all the saints that marches us towards the end of our liturgical year, closer to the promise that God says, when God says, I will fulfill all that I began. I will make all that I began even more spectacular and wonderful than it already is. The saints knew that, and the saints held firm in that understanding that God will not go back on God's promises. May we, as saints of God, continue in that kind of pursuit, continue in that awareness, continue in that mission, so that all the world knows its beauty and its goodness and its grace, because it has been touched by the life of God. A blessed day, St. Francis, a blessed day, St. Francis and people of God, a glorious solemnity of all saints. May the Lord give you his peace.